Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Anime Night in the Dojo. Today's featured show, Slime, Season 4.
Yep, Slime, Season 4, Episode 16. Welcome back to the Dojo. I'm Ryu. Sage, we're back from our Anime Night in the Dojo. And well, last time we had the Chloe connection to Leon and whatnot, all that stuff coming out. Timey-wimey nonsense, because that's what Slime was missing. We already knew it was coming. We explained all the stuff with future Chloe and, you know, the spirit and uses other work and all that stuff, so hopefully it easier for people to understand. But the TLDR is, Chloe is from another series technically, and, a different version of Slime. Not really another series, just kind of like a different version of Slime, the web novel. So that's as easy as we can make it.
Yeah, it's actually fairly common for a lot of like manga and anime and stuff like that to start off as web novels, as a web series, because freaking it's way easier to just as a hobby start writing something as a web series, and then just if it gets popular, turn it into an actual like published novelization.
Yeah.
Like another big example of that is Overlord was originally a web series, and the freaking author for Overlord changed a lot between the original web series and the actual light novels. Like, it's actually one of the things that people gripe about a lot is the changes. A lot of people didn't really like them. Like in the freaking in the original web novel, for example, Shaltier doesn't kill Arshay. She turns her into one of her like vampire servants, and Arshay remains like not a significant character, but still a semi-recurring character as one of like Shaltier's retainers.
Right.
But in the new novels, there's all that build up for Arshay and the cleaners and stuff like that, and then they're just not relevant.
Yeah, no, just not there.
They're all dead.
Yep, that's it. So either way, moving forward, this episode is titled Gran, Hero of the Dawn, so obviously Granville is going to do a thing. Maybe we'll get some more of his backstory with Luminous and stuff like that, even though I don't know if we need that much more. I mean, we've got pretty much the gist of his backstory with Luminous at this point. I mean, so do we really need more? Not really, but if it's there, sure, why not? It's not like it would be a bad thing, so...
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really got a lot of context for the heroes. Like, the current hero is Masayuki, who isn't much of a hero. He's just some guy with freaking OP luck.
Yeah.
The previous hero was the masked hero. And she's, as far as we know, basically the end-all be-all for, like, human potential. Like, basically the only things that can trump her are the freaking progenitors. And then we have zero context for what Granville's capable of. Or who potentially was, like, in between him and the masked hero.
Yeah.
Because we know the masked hero was 300 years ago, and he was 1,000 years ago.
Yeah.
So there was still a pretty big gap between the two of them that there potentially could have been a fourth hero.
Right. So, either way, we just got to kind of see what happens, and full batch cast. Who knows who we'll see at any given point coming up here in the next couple episodes. So, yeah. We're going to push some buttons and get going here. So, people on Patreon, we'll see you on the other side of the edit for the time reaction. And people on YouTube Beyond, we'll see you on the other side for the reaction, or the discussion and review. And all the links are down there in the description. Check it out, whatnot. So, here goes some. Well, alrighty then. There you guys have it. I forgot that button did that, but anyway, we got a bunch of information in this one. We got a little bit more backstory on Gran, obviously. Totally fine. We went back 1,700 years this time, so the timeline is it is what it is. We speculated on the disparity in the ages of each hero and stuff like that. So yeah, Granville's been around for quite some time.
And now there's most definitely been at least one hero in between him and the masked hero.
Right. So,
but yeah, it was sweet. we didn't have an exact time frame. We just knew it'd been over 1,000 years. Apparently, it's been 1,700, so it was actually closer to 2,000.
Right. But I talked a little bit about this at the end of the reaction too, with like, you know, all these like just random characters and stuff like that in shows. Not just this one where it's just like, oh, clearly they want to wipe out humanity. It's like you fought Luminous multiple times, and in the case of just all of it, it's if they wanted to wipe out humanity, they could probably do it in a couple days. You know what I mean? They're, what do you think? They're just waiting around for thousands of years, and it's like, nah, I'm just going to keep putting it off. You know what I mean? Fully procrastinating on destroying humanity and stuff like that. It's just, we're just going to keep waiting. We're just going to keep waiting.
Yeah, it's most of them. It's like these kind of characters think all the freaking all the demon lords and stuff like that are basically just freaking high difficulty setting freaking Civ AI.
Yeah.
Just trying to war deck everything and shit 15 different cities into room for 2.
Yeah.
When they're actually closer to like actual Civ players who just want their like 7 or 8 cities that they can just keep building up until they eventually win.
Right. So it is just kind of interesting that it's like just one of the tropes is just, oh yeah, they clearly want to destroy humanity. It's like, man, it's been thousands of years. If any of them wanted to do it, they probably would have done it by now. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, it's like, if they do that, then what's left? There's nothing for them to do. You know what I mean?
I mean, like we saw freaking Maleen when she wasn't even an awakened demon lord yet, destroys one of the most advanced nations basically overnight.
Yeah. We had Soma earlier this season, so just saying, it is what it is. But definitely a ton of information in this one. The classic, you know, like random sidebars of comedy. Luminous going back to her maid ways and stuff like that. The fact that Xion didn't recognize her is kind of ridiculous, but that Xion, that is what it is. But yeah, just a bunch of information on Gran, all that kind of stuff. We got his backstory, the stuff that went on with Maria the Saint. I guess this is Undead Week because we had the stuff in Skeleton Knight with the undead, and now Gran has potentially used his residual power of greed to resurrect her slightly. That was a little, you know, convoluted, but you know.
Yeah, we don't know exactly what's up.
Don't know exactly what he did there. Like, did he put her into stasis after she died? Like, what did he do there? Is that how he's been staying alive? Is like drawing her residual power out of her? So don't really know exactly what was going on.
Well, we got reminded the whole thing about the fact that the 7 Days clergy have been drawing power from Luminous, and that one of the benefits that they had was not aging.
Yeah.
Which was one of the things that was established earlier as like one of the big reasons why they were so anti-Hinata, because they felt like Hinata was going to replace them as Luminous's favorites, and if they stopped being Luminous's favorites, they feared that they would start aging again.
Right. Which, you know, as she points out, it's like that's not how it works, but well, too late now. You already effed up, so it's over. You're gonna get crushed into a cube and then disintegrated by Diablo, and then Sindri's gonna come up and break your orb. So, yeah, that's that is what it is. But you know, it was.
I was gonna say, which I believe. I was talking about this during the episode, but I believe the main implication there as to why Granville has been slowly aging is that he never truly believed in Luminous.
Yeah.
So his faith, since his faith in her wasn't complete, his power he drew from her wasn't either. So he was, granted, aging incredibly slowly. He was still aging, unlike the rest of the 7 days.
Yeah. Something in this section here when Luminous was talking about why Hinata still has to sleep, kind of missed it because we were talking, and this is one of those things that I've mentioned in the past, that it's just like, this is why we don't talk a lot during our reactions, because we will miss something crucial, potentially. You know what I mean? There are a couple things that, like, while we were mentioning stuff during this, I was just like, I'm probably gonna have to go back and watch that. You know what I mean?
Yes. So what she was talking about is Hinata recently in like one of the previous story arc with that was focused around her with her battle and with Rimuru and stuff like that, achieved her saint evolution.
Yeah.
But apparently it takes humans an extended period of time to fully undergo the evolution because humans aren't monsters. That's not a core part of their thing to evolve. They can evolve, but it's not something that's like a core part of the way they work. So their bodies aren't very good at it. So like that's one of the other big disadvantages she has in the whole like comparing her to Gran. Is not only was Gran a true hero, unlike Hinata, Gran's been a saint for well over 1,000 years now, whereas Hinata's only just recently turned into a saint.
Yeah. So apparently she still has to sleep. So that's a real bummer for her. But yeah, the whole thing of Gran being stronger than Hinata, even at this point, is founded. I mean, we saw what he was capable of. You know what I mean? So it's kind of unsurprising. But
yeah, he was apparently back in the day capable of going toe to toe with Luminous.
Yeah,
which we know Hinata can't hold a candle to Luminous. And once again, she's quite a bit weaker than the Masked Hero. And the Masked Hero is the only other true hero that we know of at the moment, because Masayuki, while he's considered to be the current hero, hasn't actually undergone any of the hero evolutions or transformations or anything like that yet. He's still just a dog standard human.
Yeah, at the end of the day, Masayuki is just an accidental otherworlder, not unlike, Yuki and Hinata, that just happens to have been branded as the new hero because of all the nonsense luck that his what was it called? His ability. It was, I had it and then I lost it. It was like it's gone. But his unique skill that he got. You know what I mean? That's it's like something like close to certain outcome, but not certain outcome because that's, Chion's thing.
It's very similar. It's very similar in naming, but then most of the sub skills of it are named heroic something or other.
Yeah.
And the whole thing to it is that it's a reality level power where it rewrites reality to make him out to be basically the most heroic person in the room.
Yeah, even if he's not really doing anything, it just happens to be happening to him. You know what I mean? I think out of all of them, Masayuki is like the least hero because he's not really doing it on purpose. You know what I mean? He was just granted this ability by the words of the world and because of the situation he was in, and that's just, that was his like gotcha pull for his ability that was given to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, the powers you're given when you get isekai'd are fairly random, but they're at least somewhat based on like your situation when you died and like your desires and stuff like that.
Yeah. In the case of Masayuki, he was just kind of abducted on the street in the middle of a gotcha pole. You know what I mean? Because he saw like somebody that looked vaguely otherworld-like. So
yeah, he's just a stray, which from what we've seen, the stray's powers in particular are extra random and convoluted because they don't basically have the time to just sit there and talk with the words of the world the way summoned or freaking reincarnated do.
Yeah. Either way, this whole backstory was interesting. I will be interested to see if like this crab guy, I don't even know what to call him, he's a potential demon, whatever this guy is that Gran named. We didn't really get anything on him after this. You know what I mean? We had the whole Maria thing. Yeah. When Maria dies, he wasn't there when Maria died. So I can't imagine this is just like some random one-off character because Gran named him. You know what I mean? And he's got to be somewhere doing something, right? Or we'll get some kind of thing on him. It'd be kind of weird to just have this character be part of this story and then just nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's some form of like insectoid / crustacean monster that Gran named, which once again, Gran is on par with old demon lords. So him naming something would be a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
But the last we saw of it was their final confrontation with Luminous before Gran made his like begrudging alliance with her.
Yeah, and I think he was in that shot of them like establishing Lubelius here, like when they yeah, he's right there. Like you can see him in the film grain there. That's him right there. Obviously you can see the little orb thing. Just so he is there when they established the city. So that's like the last we see of him. So we'll put a pin in, like a minor pin in that guy of like, don't forget about crab guy, insect guy, whatever. You know what I mean? Let's just, you know, if something comes with it, great. If not, then it's just kind of like a random, just like tertiary background character that just was part of Gran's past, and that's it. Oh well. Is it a big deal if he doesn't come back? Not really, but it's just kind of one of those things like, put a pin in it. We'll see what happens. But as for the rest of this, you know, the backstory was fine. You know, don't know what's going on with Maria, what's going on with her body, and whatever Gran did at the end that we talked about.
But whatever happened to her, she was cursed, and so she couldn't be like resurrected conventionally or anything, or healed or anything like that. Because once again, like the dagger that was used on her was given by a greater demon that was supposedly able to even work on Gran himself.
Yeah.
According to the greater demon.
But for all we know, the demon could have been lying, and he could have just taken her by, you know, surprise. And, you know, taking somebody by surprise in that situation, even a regular weapon could have killed her. I mean, if her
she's also a saint. She's not a normal human.
Yeah. But still, we'll just have, it was probably, you could call it like an enchanted weapon, you know, something that's just obviously better than like a bog standard, hey, I picked up this knife and stabbed you with it. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So, I don't know. We'll have to see if this whole situation here is explained, like what is going on here. Is he using her residual power and now he was able to like bring her back in an undead state for this situation, or what's going on here? Because I got nothing.
We know she was a saint, and we know she was some form of priestess, which is part of the reason why I say like cursed weapon, because not only are saints just way more resilient than normal humans, they don't need to sleep, they barely need to eat, they don't age at the same rate, they're just physically stronger and more resilient. But also, once again, she was a priest, so like presumably she would have been able to just heal herself if it wasn't cursed or in some way, shape, or form preventing her from doing so.
Yeah, kind of like you know, like how Hinata couldn't be healed with Rimuru's healing potion. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we have that going on. A couple other random side things. I landed right on it. The group that we saw do the dungeon. They apparently worship misery. Okay.
They worship Vert, which by this day and age, no one really even knows who Vert is anymore.
Yeah.
They don't realize she's one of the demon progenitors or anything like that. We don't know about these guys if they know who like Vert's actual identity is.
Yeah.
But no one else outside of the organization at very least knows who Vert is. They're all just like, oh, you worship who?
Yeah, right. Don't know who that is. But at the end of the day, this statue, 100% misery. Long green hair. She's a swordsman. Tied to the green stuff, obviously. So it cannot be anybody else.
Yeah, which as far as them being a like mercenary group worshipping from what we know back before they became subservient to Guy, Rain and Misery were both very warlike. They were like Guy's main adversaries and were constantly fighting him.
Yeah. So we had this little bit of information just to, once again, put another pin in it. This is probably going to be more relevant because obviously she's a progenitor. She's still around. We know what she's doing. We talked about how her and Rain still have like autonomy. They're not just being Gee's maids 24/7. They're potentially still reasonably involved in certain things that are going on. You know what I mean? So
yeah, they're loyal to Gee, but they're not his slaves or anything.
Yeah. So either way, we had that, and then we kind of got the well, not even kind of. It was the full-on confirmation of. Gonna have to get back to that at some point too, but the confirmation that Leon is in fact an otherworlder. We have speculated on this in the past, so he just flat out says it. Him and Chloe were siblings, and she was summoned to another world at some point in front of his face, potentially. Based on that's this flashback sequence that we got here.
Yeah, they were kids. She got summoned. He continued to live in the other world for a while, and then eventually got summoned himself when he was older, and has since then spent most of his time in this world, amassing his own power and constantly checking to see if he can find her.
Right.
Because presumably he looked into things and quickly realized that she didn't get summoned before him in this world.
Yeah.
So either she didn't get summoned here or she hadn't been summoned yet, and that's why he was keeping an eye out.
Yeah, the timey-wimey nonsense continues. So we have that going on.
That's another thing we've suspected for a while now, is that the whole, the timing doesn't need to match up between the two worlds as to when you get summoned. Like, Shizu was summoned some 200 years ago. Yet when she was summoned was during the bombings in World War II.
Yeah.
Which is only less than 100 years ago.
Yeah, right.
In their universe. So the timing didn't really match up. So we figured that there was something like that, but this basically confirms it because, once again, Chloe was summoned first in the other world, yet Leon showed up 300 years before her.
Right. So the timey-wimey nonsense is there. The leaks of misinformation by Yuki still going on. We saw that here in the throne room as well. They found out, unsurprisingly, that John, not June, has just conveniently disappeared and no idea what's going on. So now Leon is free to leave the realm because he doesn't have to protect from nukes on a daily basis. So they're concerned, and also just kind of well, that means I can go be selfish and go look for my sister.
I can go myself, and I'll just keep sending my lackeys out to give me secondhand information.
Right. So, yeah, the next episode title, The Conversion Point, being Lubelius. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there, what all comes about it. Obviously with Chloe being in Lubelius at the time, it's going to be interesting that's probably going to be the incendiary event. You know what I mean? Whether or not this is his Chloe is potentially up for debate with the timey-wimey nonsense. You know what I mean? So we'll just have to see. But
yeah, once again, it could very well be a thing that, the masked hero was his Chloe, and she did get summoned before him, but he never found her.
Right.
But I'm still fairly convinced that this is the original Chloe, and that the masked hero is this Chloe going back in time later in the story once she's an adult.
Right. To potentially defend against the stuff we talked about last time. So, but either way, another solid episode. Something I did want to mention here is when Hinata is talking about how Lubelius works, and what Chloe points out here about this kind of stuff is, she does have a point. It's it's all well and good if you don't have to go to school to become specialized in whatever, or have to worry about certain things in your life, because you are protected and taken care of by, in the case of Lubelius, Hinata's order, and Luminous's barrier and stuff like that, and that kind of thing, her forces, so they don't have to worry about certain things in their life. So they just kind of are just kind of doing average everyday mundane things, and that's all they have to do. But at a certain point, it's just like, it's all well and good to rely on your protectors and stuff like that. But, the second that your protectors are gone, then what? It's kind of like the story of, teach a man how to fish versus just handing somebody fish. You know what I mean?
Once again, yeah, we already had like the established that like Luminous specifically mentioned that like Lubelios doesn't use currency. There is no like needing to work for your food or anything like that. It's just a thing of like the citizens of Lubelios live peaceful lives because they just sit there in their city and they're protected from everything. So once again, like the whole founding of the city in the first place by Luminous was to basically be a human sanctuary.
Yeah.
It's just vampires need humans to survive. And Luminous is very fond of humans, so she basically just made a zoo for them where she can keep them and make sure that they stay alive and happy and can be protected from all the other outside threats like the other demon lords and random monster attacks and stuff like that.
Yeah. We have to make another Steven Universe reference. Anybody who's seen that show, you guys remember the Human Zoo? The little voice on the earrings? Pretty much the same thing. Except, I guess, in the case of Steven Universe, the voice was telling them exactly what to do at every point in every day, and they had a set schedule that was ridiculous because the gem matriarchs didn't really understand humanity very well, though when they picked up humanity, it was thousands of years in the past, so they weren't really like modern day humans that had like technology or anything like that, you know what I mean? Like pre-civilization humans, but still, at least in Lubelius, you could pretty much do whatever you want. In the Human Zoo and Steven Universe, it was like, it's time to eat, it's time to bathe, go run around and play. All right, time to go to bed.
Basically, in Lubelius, you're either just a citizen who just goes around and lives their life, or you join the church and become either a priest or a crusader.
Right. So that's definitely an interesting concept. That's always like a big time debate thing. Is like, it's great. It sounds great, and if it works, great. But it's always that like what if situation is like, what if it's not that tomorrow? Then what do these people do? You know what I mean? So it's always one of those conundrums, and like just as long as it functions, great. But again, you always have that like what if scenario. But a lot of people don't deal with what ifs. They always believe that Luminous and their protectors will always be there, and they don't have to worry about that. And it's reasonable. You know what I mean? You could believe that in your lifetime that it won't be a problem, and that is what it is. But for me, I'd always think it's like, well, what about people 10,000 years from now? What if it's not working for them? Then what?
Yeah, I mean, it's worked for 1,700 years so far.
Yeah. We could point out the Roman Empire and stuff like that. It's just like eventually all things could collapse,
That's what I was going to say. It's like it's worked for 1,700 years so far, but this is also like the biggest point of change in their history. So the most likely time for something to happen to it.
Right. So either way, a lot of interesting stuff in this episode. Stuff that we've talked about in the past. It was cool to talk about that again. Yeah, we'll just have to see what happens with the whole Chloe stuff, because that's what it seems like they're going to, especially with the OP. You know what I mean? It's very Chloe centric. I mean, besides just all the progenitors and stuff like that. So we're probably gonna have the Leon stuff, and they'll work it out somehow. You know what I mean? Maybe this Chloe, the time spirit will awaken her somehow. You know what I mean? Take over the body situation, because that's something Chloe did mention. It's like sometimes it just feels like she's not in control. You know what I mean? So
that was the masked hero who mentioned that. Like she was dealing with, like, it seemed like another personality was taking over, and that's why she had Luminous put her on ice.
Yeah.
It was basically going full Master Chief of like, wake me when you need me, but I don't trust myself to be awake the rest of the time.
Right,
because I keep losing control.
Yeah. So we'll just have to see if something comes with that. But yeah, will Leon crash the musical performance, or is that going to happen before the musical performance, and then the musical performance will be the thing that everybody celebrates with afterward? Or maybe the whole place blows up. Who knows? we'll just have to see. But a lot of interesting things going on. We'll just have to see who gets showcased when, that kind of thing, you know. So again, another solid episode. I like what they're doing with this so far. And Yuki's plotting again. Big shock. Who would have guessed?
You know, Rimuru had that whole friggin' thing in the bar, just like Yuki again.
It's like, yeah, Yuki again. It's like we have to deal with Yuki again. It's just like, I'm not surprised. I mean, Raphael straight up tells him, it's like, you realize that this isn't over, right? Yuki's kind of a dick, right?
Yeah, he finally was willing to give Yuki some benefit of the doubt. Raphael immediately is just like, yeah, no, the whole thing was a ploy. He's still an asshole. You're still gonna deal with him.
Yep. So, either way, again, another solid episode. I'm enjoying this. So, you got anything else, Age?
I heard most of it. We're probably going to use this Vert situation as a further lead into like setting up Key and just the other progenitors in general. Since we have now introduced all of the progenitors to some extent.
Yeah.
Well, all the demon progenitors. Once again, we're still missing half of the dragons.
Yeah.
And we've still never got established like who the human progenitor is.
Right. Something I'm interested to see is just more Guy in general, and then just his like reaction to what Diablo does with the other three. You know what I mean? Because he kind of had that like realization, like, oh, Noir's on the move finally. So it'll be interesting to see what he sees with this whole situation and what he does about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because like among the demons, the progenitors, originally the main conflict was, you know, Guy, Misery, and Rain, until eventually he beats them and they swear loyalty to him. Then he establishes his like rivalry with Noir. But eventually he names himself and just kind of disappears from the demon realm with Rain and Misery, leaving the other four to just kind of be left to their own devices. And then Noir, we don't know what happens during all that time, but presumably he was plotting the whole time to do what he's doing now.
Yeah.
Be incarnated and find someone to serve. But Guy and him still have their like standing rivalry that was never resolved because Guy fucked off into the material world.
Right.
And then, you know, the new three have had their friggin' like triangle rivalry going on ever since Guy was no longer around to be like the top dog.
Yep. So, yep. Still plenty of slime to get to. Looking forward to it. So, ladies and gentlemen, people of YouTube, beyond heavy watching, as always, we appreciate you stopping by and hanging out here in the dojo for more Anime Night in the Dojo on this Slime. Season 4, Episode 16. Still like 40 some odd episodes plus to go, I'm sure. Remember, this is going to be 5 cores. So, probably more like 50 to 60 more episodes.
Yeah, I imagine we're probably going to go to at least 120. This was episode 88. I imagine we'll go to at least 120. Probably closer to like 140, 150.
Yeah, something like that. So, either way, everybody, as always, we appreciate you. Have a good morning, evening, afternoon, whatever it is for you. Have a good one. See you next time.
Hello again, everyone. Victoria here. Don't forget about those like and subscribe buttons. Your support is always appreciated. Thanks again for your time, and we look forward to seeing you again in the future.